Hey, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatha. Yahweh Shamar Latham Bashem Yarashai to all the sisters. Priest and Officer 1000 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA. Tonight we're going to be breaking down Bacchus, right? All right, Shalom Israel. Tonight we're going to be breaking down Fat Tuesday, which y'all might know as Carnival, right? If you're in Toronto, you know it as what you're going to be doing this Saturday as you're watching this right now. You know it as Caribana, right? If you're a Roman Caucasian, you call it Bacchanal, right? Just like a lot of West Indians. And I said it like that on purpose because a lot of brothers and sisters don't understand why they're naked in the streets right now, shaking ass, right? A lot of brothers don't understand why they're on Lakeshore right now dancing with what they think is a woman. Newsflash: Canada is the first place to legalize homosexuality, right? There's transgenders right now in the Caribana parade, and some of you brothers were dancing on them, and you thought it was a woman. Good night, right? So I wanted to get into it. We're gonna talk about Bacchus, the god in Rome, right? Bacchus is a god in Rome. He came from Greek. The original or the predecessor to Bacchus was Dinos, right? A Greek god. Bacchus, we're going to talk about Bacchus right now because this is where Bacchanal comes from. Bacchus is a Rome god primarily associated with wine, agriculture, and fertility, right? So you're going to eat some food, get drunk, and then have sex with some sister you only met tonight at Salake. Insert any Toronto club right there. And Bacchus is a Roman god, right? The now is carnival. So when they put Bacchanal together, it's basically the celebration of a Roman god, right? A lot of you Christians, a lot of you Caribbean brothers and sisters are trying to justify why you're worshiping another god naked in the street like a Roman. And this god, he was also the patron of arts and the protector of the theater. His festivals, the Bacchanal, were celebrated with great enthusiasm, right? That's like what you're doing right now on Lakeshore. You are dancing with great enthusiasm, right? Can't wait to party, even though when you get back home, your life is a living hell, right? Your marriage is destroyed, right? So you got some sister pregnant, and now she has you on child support, right? With great enthusiasm and often involved in wild aesthetic revelry, right? So a lot of you brothers, y'all and sisters, y'all gonna be outside reveling tonight, right? So tonight we're talking about Fat Tuesday, the god of Rome, Carnival, Caribana, Bacchanal, however you want to call it, right? Bacchus was a Roman god. This god primarily associated with wine, agriculture, and fertility, right? A lot of you brothers and sisters, y'all gonna be out tonight getting drunk, shaking ass, shaking your rear end on these streets, right? Taking a sister from the club tonight, not knowing if she has a STD or STI, not knowing her life or what she is. Is she a whole dragon? You're gonna sleep with her, possibly get pregnant, or possibly end your summer real hot, right? Your summer is going to be burning up. Winter, the burning is not going to keep you warm during the winter, but you'll be burning up because of what you did at Caribana, right? So we got to get into more of this, Salakia. All right, so a lot of you Christians are going to be like, no, that's not our carnival is not what they did in Rome. That's because your pastor failed you. You have weak leadership. He failed you, and your spiritual leader is not telling you the truth. Your spiritual leader, your pastor, is probably in on Lakeshore with you right now, right? Watching all the young sisters shake tail, right? But you're saying it's a different carnival, even though it's the same thing, because you're trying to justify and glorify whoring, right? You're trying to justify the partying that you're doing right now, right? Now, okay, we're gonna read some more of this just to break it down, right? Bacchus, the Bacchus god in Greek mythology, Dionysus, in I probably butchered that, right? In the Greek predecessor, before Bacchus, there was Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and fertility. So you see, it's the same. Greek is the predecessor to Rome. The same gods were later, um, basically the same practices that they were doing in Greece. They later took it to Rome and were doing those same practices, right? Who shared many similarities with Roman counterpart. In fact, Bacchus is often considered the Roman adaptation, right? So there's that there. So now you know Bacchus is a Greek god, right? Bacchus is a Roman god that came from Greece. Where are we? The Bacchanal were the Roman equivalent of the Dionysian festivals. These ruckus celebrations honored Bacchus and often included excessive drinking. Sounds like everything you're going to be doing on Lakeshore right now, right? The drinking, excessive drinking. Many of you brothers and sisters, are you going to be getting drunk and not remembering how you got home? Dancing and revelry. While they began as private, exclusive gatherings, they eventually evolved into public, citywide festivals. That sounds exactly like what you're going to be doing on Lakeshore, right? Now, it's exactly what is happening in the Caribbean islands. It sounds like Mardi Gras. It sounds like Carnival. It sounds like Juve. Evolved into public, citywide festivals. The Bacchanal became notorious for the debauchery. That's how you see their panties and their underwear, right? Their panties and bra with glitter and little feathers and peacocking. That's basically what you're doing. You are peacocking in the streets with all those colors, right? And a peacock does that simply to find a mate for sex. Except you sisters aren't finding a man that wants to keep you forever. You brothers, you're not going to to mother your children, right? You're talking to women who aren't classy, brothers who lack morals. This bacchanal became notorious for their debauchery and were eventually suppressed by the Roman Senate in 186 BCE due to concerns over moral corruption and political subversion. Let's get to our next. Bacchus, the god of wine, fertility, and revelry, has captured the imagination of countless generations. But who exactly is the Amadic deity? And how did this myth evolve through history? Right? These are questions that we're going to get more into it. Now, there's I just read that for you so you could understand who this Roman god was, right? There was a time that majority of the people that you're going to see outside of the heathens, especially in the city of Toronto, is so-called Benjamites, so-called West Indians, right, who made it to the West Indies through slavery. You might see a few Judites as well because Americans love to come up to Canada to partake in in the debauchery, right? So there was a time, many of you guys might not even understand this, right? There was a time when the tribe of Benjamin was going through their slavery in the West Indies, right? Specifically, we could talk about Jamaica at this moment, right? Where you had the Maroons fight the oppressor for freedom, right? Now, there was a time when Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, was rebellious and they were fighting for their freedom. And our oppressor is a cunning serpent, right? So, what he did is basically the same thing Justin Trudeau did with legalizing weed in Canada, right? In the Caribbeans, the oppressor gave us a day to party, right? And if you know black people, we have the spirit of partying. In fact, not just to say we have the spirit of partying, but when you look through our holy scriptures, right? Our high holy days are days for us to have off from working, to gather with our family, with our nation, and have a party, right? It's That's what you could look at for most of these high holy days. It's a time of gathering together, a holy convocation, a separate gathering, right? So the oppressor, he gave us a time to party. Now, just like what the oppressor did in Canada with legalizing weed. You legalize weed, now everyone's smoking weed, and black people forget about all their problems while they're high, right? Well, the oppressor did the same thing. Tomorrow, black people, Hispanic people, right? You're going to be on Lakeshore partying, dancing to soca and reggae music. And listen, you get a wife and you go to the club or you be in your house and turn on that soca and reggae music, and you're more than likely going to have a baby, right? Because that soca and reggae music is just the listen for when it comes to a man and woman. It's a vibe. That's the best way to say it. It's a vibe. It's going to bring out that spirit of you want to be with your wife, or if you're a sister, you want to be with your husband, right? So the oppressor gave us this party, and we've been enjoying this party for decades, for centuries, right? It's a calm that's misleading. We think that this party is something that our God wants us to do. Many of you sisters, y'all gonna be naked throughout the weekend, running around naked throughout the streets of Toronto. And come Sunday, you're gonna sit in that church and act like you are holier than thou, right? When you were just busting it open for every Tom, Harry, and Leroy that got behind you, right? Now, this is the same thing that the French did in New Orleans, right? Because our oppressor is all the same. The French has in New Orleans, the French has Mardi Gras, and you can see it. It looks like Mardi Gras is like if you've seen those Girls Gone Wild commercials back in the day. You remember when you were watching BT in the late nights, right? You seen those Girls Gone Wild videos. It was clips of Mardi Gras, right? And that's what's happening. That's what black people are participating in, right? And if I could just give you a Slovakia, hold up. I need to give you something real quick. Now, I already broke it down to you how Bacchus is a Roman god, right? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are the children of Israel. You are not to celebrate any other god. I'm going to prove that to you right here. This is Exodus 20:1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Our God brought us out of bondage, right now we're in bondage again for disobedience. I am the Lord thy God. Okay, we'll jump down to verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, out which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Verse 3, thou shalt have no other God before me. If we jump back to Bacchus, God in Roman mythology, right? So again, Bacchus is a god in Roman mythology. You think you're celebrating carnival because you want to. You're celebrating carnival because your oppressor told you to, right? Let's keep going down. The French have Mardi Gras. Our oppressor in the West Indies decided to have Jamaican Mardi Gras. to give us the same day to celebrate and revel. And at first, our oppressor was forcing our sisters and brothers to be naked in the streets. Right? Now, is Israel a homeborn slave? Are we going to continue doing the things that the oppressor has forced us to do? Right? So they gave us Bacchanal in the Caribbean. The French have Mardi Gras. Right? One thing about this day is it's a day of just being naked. Like some of you brothers look absolutely LGBT supportive. Y'all got glitter on, y'all got pink and purple and yellow feathers. You're out there without your shirt on, right? You're looking mad effeminate, right? You can't be big bodman. Like a lot of you brothers like to portray yourself as you're a bodman outside in the streets. Come Caribana, good night. Come Caribana, you look like you were in the Pride Parade, right? What's the difference between Caribana and the Pride Parade? Nothing. It's the same thing. It's another festival that oppressors use to have orgies and be lustful. You look at Lakeshore tomorrow or Lakeshore today, right? I'm recording this the night before, but if you look at Lakeshore during Caribana, it looks like a orgy with clothes on, right? And I say clothes loosely because if you consider panty and bra, if you consider panty and bra clothing, right? It speaks a lot to why your relationships are failing. It speaks a lot to why you can't choose a good woman, right? And you're just naked. You look like the LGBTQ community, right? So I got a couple more precepts. And again, if black people are the Israelites, then you should live like Israelites, right? And this is how the Most High wanted us to live. So I'm gonna go to First Timothy 2, verse 9, right? In like manner, also the women adorn themselves in modest apparel, walking around the streets of Toronto with glitter and your full glory outside, right? Meaning this sister, she's going to be walking around in a panty and a bra, and you're going to see everything that her mom gave her, everything that her mom blessed her with. And good night. Listen, a black woman looks good, but when she's at Caribana, she looks horrible. It looks disgusting. It looks like something out of the adult film industry, right? In modest apparel, with shamefastness, and soberity, right? You're supposed to have shame. You don't want to be just outside acting like you have no father, right? Like you have nobody that's going to look at you and say that was disrespectful for how you were carrying on outside, right? Not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly array. Now that's not saying a sister can't get dolled up, because good man, have y'all seen these sisters when they get like a sister looks amazing when she has modest apparel on and she's getting ready to go out with her husband, right? What this is talking about is not being vain. It's not thinking that your hair or you having the best braids or you having on gold or pearls or some garment that's expensive. In this case at Caribana, a lot of you sisters, you are paying hundreds of dollars for panties and bra and brassieres that have feathers on them. You're paying hundreds of dollars for this. That's costly array, right? That's so like yeah, that it's a shame to see it. It's definitely a shame to see. Where are we? I gotta jump down to Revelations, right? Because again, it's a good thing for a sister to be dressed up with class, right? It's like such a rare thing now to see sisters with class, right? I seen a meme the other day that said men don't get excited about lingerie because you're wearing it outside Air Max 95s on. And that says a lot about sisters, right? And a lot of you brothers, you support this, and you'll see a sister that has nothing on. Con, you're too up. You'll see a sister that has nothing on and go talk to her and be mad when you find out that she has 10 men that she's talking to. Well, listen, I have a saying. If I see a police, Salaki, I have a saying. If I see a man walking down the street in a police officer's uniform, I'm assuming he's a cop, right? I'm assuming he works for the police department. If I see a brother walking down the street with a ski mask, I'm assuming he's about to rob something. He's about to go hit a lick. If I see a sister walking down the street with her ass hanging out, with her rear end hanging out, Salakia, I assume she's selling it. That should explain why you can't get a man nor keep a man, why your baby mom's has 10 baby fathers and you made the 11th. Right? Let's get to ooh, I got a good one for you. We're gonna get to Ecclesiasticus 20. Where are we? Ecclesiasticus 26 and 25. Right? This is Ecclesiasticus 26 and 25. A shameless woman, right? It's a shameless thing to be parading yourself outside naked. It's a shameless thing, right? A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, right? You're wondering why you get no respect outside? Is because you are not doing anything to garner any type of respect. You are walking around with your your assets, right? Your assets are outside. Everyone likes to say we outside, and they got everything just hanging outside. It's in full bloom, right? A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog. A lot of you sisters are going to be shamelessly acting like dogs on Caribana. Anybody's just going to get behind you and start humping. It's in the Bible. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. But she that is shamefast will fear the Lord, right? A woman that a good woman, a sister of good moral, good stock, she's not going to be at Caribana. She's going to understand that it's a shameful thing to have your picture come up across CP24. That's the news station, right? If you're not in Canada and you're watching this, CP24 is a news station. It's a shameless thing to watch that sister come across a news station naked, talking about she's having a good time, embarrassing her father, embarrassing her husband and her grandfathers. Right? A lot of you brothers are going to see your moms. Listen, a lot of you brothers are going to be out at Caribana and see your moms getting down in them streets. And it's going to scar you as she hasn't already scarred you, because a lot of you sisters are scarring the men that you're raising. Right? Now, that goes hand in hand. A lot of you sisters are going to say, well, single motherhood is horrible. You wouldn't be a single mother if you weren't at Caribana getting drunk and doing drugs and just dancing with anybody and having that brother take you home, right? Some brother is going to take you home, use you, and act like he doesn't know you the next day, right? Some of you brothers are going to think you found love at Caribana because she gave you that dance that made you fall in love. And she's not going to call you the next day after you get the rod. It's going to be on to the next one. Ooh, right? Now, listen, these are things that just endless reveling is not going to guarantee you a good life. You're not going to see the kingdom of heaven, right? Heaven's going to be on earth. You don't have to die to go to heaven. Heaven's going to be on earth. You live in hell right now while your oppressors live in heaven, right? So, da, 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 let's get to it. Where are we? Galatians. Galatians 5 and 21, right? This is, I want to see if I can jump up. All right, so we'll start at 19. Now, the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, right? These are just the works of the flesh. These aren't the works of the Most High, right? You want to be doing the Most High's works. You want to be taking care of your nation, right? These are the works of the flesh, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lascivious, Salakia, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, right? Jump down to 21, envyings, murders, drunkenness, reveling, right? Reveling. This is what Caribana is. It's endless reveling. It's debauchery and reveling, right? Such and such like of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the time past, right? So this is something that's been carried on. Yeah, a lot of y'all Israelites, Salakia, a lot of Israel, right? Y'all going, because of your Christian pastor, you're going to say this is, it's not the same. It's not the same as the Romans. Well, this is what I'm reading is in the time of the Romans. It's the same thing, right? Such like of which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. Right? Now listen, I know you're going to be on in your Christian church on Sunday after you were naked on Lakeshore Saturday and say you're going to make it to heaven because sweet Jesus, that's what your Christian pastor told you, right? Well, the Most High said, those things that which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God, right? Now I got one more for you. This is like the final nail in the coffin of Caribana, right? Again, if you disagree with the LGBTQ community, you should not be at Caribana, right? I'm gonna let that sink in. Caribana looks like the black version of the Pride Parade, right? You have a sister dancing naked, and one man gets behind her and dances with her. And then another man gets behind her and dances with her. And then 50 men before she goes home have gotten behind her and dancing with her. And a woman sleeping with more than one man, a man just taking a sister after she's already laid with a man that wasn't him. That's LGBTQ supportive, right? It's gay. Let's get to Deuteronomy 23 and 17, right? Now, again, this is something you have to understand, right? Benjamites or so-called Caribbean people, they have a, you ever wonder why Benjamites are so against the LGBTQ community? Well, one of the reasons has to do with the civil war in Israel, right? Where the tribes came up against Benjamin for homosexuality. So much so that the tribe of Benjamin was almost wiped out, where we had to go and have a party, right? Now I get it. The Israel, we know how to party, right? Caribana, you go outside, you party, you see a sister, you grab the sister, you dance with her, and that's it, right? Well, this is damn near the same thing that happened to Benjamin, where the tribe of Benjamin was almost wiped out, and they had to go and Salakia. The tribes had to throw a party. There were sisters in this party, and Benjamin was basically getting women because they didn't. The rest of Israel didn't want the tribe of Benjamin to die out, right? Now, on the flip side, On the flip side, right? On the flip side of it, you have buck breaking in the Caribbean, where the oppressor would get the biggest nigga out the bunch, right? And he would sexually assault that man, abuse him. They called it buck breaking in front of everybody, right? That is another reason why the spirit of Benjamin is anti-gay, right? But your pastor is not telling you that carnival is gay, right? A lot of times those Roman orgies weren't just men and women together. You had a lot of times where those Roman orgies, bacchanal, right, was men on men. Again, some of you brothers, I'm gonna pray for y'all because some of you brothers are gonna be outside tomorrow dancing on what you think is a woman, because the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, and he has mastered surgeries and mastered the art of making men look like women. And some of you brothers don't have any discernment, right? Y'all lack discernment and discipline. You're gonna be dancing with that transformer, thinking that's a sister, and it's not going to be a sister, right? Esau wants us to be a lewd people, right? Esau wants us to be a lewd people, a disgusting people, wants us to be like them. Haven't you seen those snow roaches kissing dogs in the mouth? You want to be like that? Is that what you want to be like? Right? We're a great people. We are royalty. We're supposed to think of sex as something more than just sex, where you could just go have sex with a sister and leave her because it's just sex, right? Your pastor teaches it's just sex. Your pastor doesn't teach you sex is marriage. And them acts that you're doing in the streets, you should not be doing with these sisters, right? You shouldn't just be in the streets reveling and the sisters naked. And listen, a lot of things are gonna happen, right? Especially in that Caribana. Some sisters, you're going to learn. So, like, I'm not even gonna say it like that. I'm just gonna say, Lord be with y'all sisters. Hopefully, you don't get violated, right? But some of y'all sisters were told to stay home, and you decided to sneak out the house or tell your father or your mother you're going somewhere, but you're not really going there, and you got the whole Caribana get up under your clothes or in your bag, and you just can't wait to get on CP24 naked, right? You want to be on the Canadian news broadcast naked, embarrassing your father, right? We're supposed to look at sex as is something that's sacred. It's something that you do with a woman you want to keep forever, right? Listen, you want to turn on that Vibes Cartel and go in your bedroom with your rib, or sisters go in the bedroom with your husband, and y'all want to dirty wine in that bedroom. Listen, have at it by all means, right? We need more babies, right? But you should be doing that with your husband, right? And I got a question for you brothers. Y'all want to be at Caribana, right? Looking at these naked sisters. Now, what if your wife's at Caribana, right? Now, are you guys letting your wives go to Caribana, knowing that 50 men are going to jump behind her and dance with her provocatively before she gets home? She's going to have that weave all sweated out. The glitter is not going to be hers because the men are wearing the glitter. The glitter that's on her backside all smudged is not from her, it's from some man, right? And y'all brothers are allowing that, right? Some of y'all men want to go to Caribana to look at a sister. Ooh, listen, a sister is such an amazing thing. Y'all want to look at this sister, right? You want to see her dance, right? What did Juicy J say? Bands will make her dance in Caribana. They're not throwing bands, but you want to see this sister dance, right? And she's naked, and that rear end is just it's doing what rear ends do, right? Now, here's another question for you brothers, and I'm gonna leave you with this last question, right? What if it's your daughter, right? You're a grown man. You went to Caribana, and you said, "Listen, I'm gonna go to Caribana. It's me and my bros. We're at Caribana. We're just looking for a good time. You want to sip some Heineken, sip some Guinness, right?" And you see a sister, and you're like, "Look at that young thing. She's getting down," and she turns around, and you're listen. Before she turns around, your boys are like, "Yeah, man, that's that young thing. She's banging." You turn around, and when you turn around, it's your daughter, right? How are you going to feel then, right? This is why you're not supposed to celebrate the other gods. A lot of you Christians are going to be celebrating the other god, another god, during Caribana. God doesn't want us to do that, right? Caribana is LGBTQ friendly. You got men wearing glitter and feathers. Right now, there's nothing wrong with feathers, right? Because the tribe of Gad, they rock some feathers, and them brothers, when before the oppressor devastated them, the Gad was a bunch of warriors, right? But Carabana feathers is totally different. It's glittery, it's gay, it's LGBTQ, right? I got one more for you, right? Listen, this is from the Most High, the God of Israel, the God of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Deuteronomy 23:17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Listen, if you are outside naked on Lakeshore and you got 1,000 men jumping behind you while you're breaking out, right? They call it bruck out. If you're a Benjamite, they call it bruck out. You're in the streets brucking out, meaning you're getting down, shaking everything that your mama gave you, right? Leaving nothing to the imagination, right? You damn near having babies in them streets, right? You are a whore. And I know your pastor never told you, and your mom never told you because she brought you to Caribana, and you seen your dad at Caribana, and you tried to hide from him, right? And he never told you, but you're a whore. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, right? And you brothers who are at Caribana, all glittery, looking like pixies and fairies, and looking like something out of Peter Pan, right? Something out of the Pride Parade. This is for you. Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel, right? Caribana is about Sodom and Gomorrah. I know you want to think that it's about having a good time, and we're black people, we like to dance, and we made it something else. No, you're doing exactly what the oppressor told you to do. Your oppressor told you to dance in them streets naked. It's 2023 and you're still dancing in them streets naked. Shalom.